Well, hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm at the C terminal here at LaGuardia Airport and I'm going to check out the construction. What's been going on since my last update? There are a lot of changes here at LaGuardia and I'm going to show them all to you. We're getting very close to the final product of the new LaGuardia. But before I get started, don't forget to watch a recent video from the B1M about LaGuardia Airport. With over 2 million subscribers, the B1M produces videos on the latest construction news and developments, and their LaGuardia video features me. Check out the link to it in the description below. Now, on with my video. Coming up in this video, I'm going to take you around the C and D terminals here at LaGuardia Airport. Eventually, the two will become one giant terminal, but for now, the two are disjointed. I'm going to show you the way to get between the two of them from a perspective that I've never shown you before, and we'll take a look inside. In previous updates, I showed you the new roadway system, but today I'm mostly on foot. Let's go. So I'm about to walk into the C terminal, the original C terminal, which actually still looks quite the same. However, things are going to change a lot in a bit. This is the head house where you check in. It's not going to be the check-in area for much longer. This terminal opened in 1992 and features a bright departures hall. There's a stair and escalator that takes you to the lower level. Going down brings you to the baggage claim area, but I'm descending so I can exit the terminal to walk over to Terminal D. I can't turn left and walk over to Terminal D. I need to go to the far western end of the terminal and cross the street where I can then head to the eastern side of the airport. You can tell that this is an old terminal. I'm now across the street from Terminal C in an area for passengers to walk to the rideshare area and the parking garage. It's a semi-covered area as it's below the roadway system for the departure level above. Here you can find areas for the specific rideshare company that you'll be using, and just to the right is the parking garage that remains in its original position. I'm just bypassing this area so I can get to Terminal D here on the landside part of the terminal. I've walked this route before, and the temporary covered walkway has morphed quite a bit over time, as it always needs to be moved around ongoing construction, but it serves its purpose. I'm in a walkway area on the west side of Terminal D, taking me to Terminal D. The walkway brings you around Delta's new head house, which is directly located in front of Terminal D. I just can't wait for that to be the main entranceway for Delta Airlines, but for now, I take in the site of the original D terminal. There's just a little bit of walking left before reaching the terminal that opened in 1983. These walkways are very makeshift, but the writing on the sidewalls conveys messages about all of the great new things to come, and much of what these messages say are a reality at Terminal B. Don't forget to check out my video tour of the new Terminal B. As we turn the final corner of the temporary walkway, we're on the lower level, the arrivals level of Terminal D. As I pan to the right, we can see the backside of the new Delta head house here on the east end of LaGuardia Airport. A roadway used to exist parallel to this walkway, but it's now a construction area. This is what the new head house is going to look like, and I'm currently standing behind it at Terminal D, but pretty soon that's going to be the grand entrance to LaGuardia Airport. Before I go into Terminal D, come with me for a walk around the east side of the new head house. The purpose of this walkway is to bring arriving passengers at the original Terminal D to the vehicle pickup area on the lower level of the new head house. That's what it's like on the lower level of Terminal D. I'm now going to go into the terminal to show you what the upper level of Terminal D is like these days. An outdoor escalator, which has been there for a very long time, allows you to go upstairs to the departures level. But if you're arriving by car directly to Terminal D, passengers are dropped off in front of the new head house and they walk around it on a temporary walkway above the temporary walkway on the arrivals level. Just like the lower level, the roadway in front of the terminal is closed because it's part of the area used for the new head house. We get a nice view of the back side of the head house from here. Let's go into Terminal D. I'm taking it all in. This won't be here for much longer. You'd never know you are physically in the middle of a massive construction project while inside the check-in area of Terminal D. Let's go through the TSA checkpoint to see what things look like on the air side. Okay, I am past the security point in the D terminal, and I'm going to go check out the G gates area. The G gates on the extreme east end of the airport have actually been around for quite some time now and are still the only active new gates being used by Delta Airlines at LaGuardia. I've featured these gates before on my channel, but it's always nice to check them out while in Terminal D. I'm so excited about the already existing and new points of view that this amazing new terminal has and will provide. What a fantastic experience. Ultimately, the head house is going to lead you directly to this area, in this area that you see right behind me. That's going to be an escalator going straight down to the beautiful gate area. Here's a great graphic of the final product. It's so different from the LaGuardia of just a few years ago. Wow. I'm now going to head over to Terminal C. By the way, the gates at both Terminals C and D have been renumbered to fit into the gate numbering system for the entire airport. After walking by the central food area, I took a quick glimpse at the original D gates, then walked over to the area by the Delta Sky Club to take the airside shuttle from Terminal D to Terminal C. So there are two ways to get between the terminals. You can walk on the land side, as I did earlier in this video, or you can go airside and take the shuttle on the ramp. I think this is going to be the most exciting part of this video today. You gotta love it when you're on a bus at ramp level. Just like when I strategically chose my seat on the left or right side of an airplane, I made sure I selected a seat on the best side for the best view from this bus. And since I knew I'd be traveling from the east to the west, I knew that a seat on the left side of the bus would provide the best views of the masterpieces of construction that is now part of the new LaGuardia. The area off to the left side of the bus is one of the new concourses at the C terminal, which is going to open very soon. I loved watching this new structure grow into what it is today. I can't help but think about what used to sit in this exact space. The old concourse here was very tight and small with low ceilings. It was overcrowded, especially during peak times. One thing I didn't like was the small windows in the old building, and that is not going to be an issue here. This is a bright, open space, and it reminds me a bit of the new Delta concourse that I showed you earlier. The structure extends all the way out of the ramp to where the taxiway system begins, but our ride today remains on the ramp. Our trip is actually coordinated around aircraft movements. It's not too often you get to be on a bus whose timing relies on where airplanes are at the moment. But this ride is only temporary. In the distance, we can see the new head house in front of the D terminal, and as we continue along, we get very close to the outermost gates. The windows there are going to provide some great views of the action on runway 1331. I sure hope one day I'll have a flight departing from there. As we approached the end of this gate area, we actually had to wait for an aircraft that was pulling out of the ramp onto the taxiway before we could proceed any further. We waited quite some time for that airplane to move, and it was eventually decided that we could just proceed along because that airplane was going to be a while. The second half of this ride passes by the original western concourse of the C terminal. This concourse remains mostly identical to the way it looked since its opening days. It's seen its different share of carriers throughout the years, but the building itself is part of LaGuardia's past. I love how we're able to get up close to the airplanes here, and you can clearly see how the gates have been renumbered. If you're taking this short journey from D to C, sit on the left side for the best view of the ramp. Going from C to D, sit on the right side. Now, if you sit on the opposite side for either trip, you'll still have views of aircraft movements on the taxiways and runway 1331, but this video is about the terminal. We're now turning inbound along the ramp. The small tower that you see above the terminal building is the ramp tower for Delta Airlines. Ramp controllers there are responsible for traffic to and from the gates here at the terminal. This small tower is not to be confused with the FAA Air Traffic Control Tower, which handles flights on the taxiways, runways, and nearby airspace. As we continue along, the driver of this bus must always be alert to the busy ramp traffic of planes and vehicles, but the coast is clear for the remainder of our journey today. We're now approaching the bus station that will allow passengers to disembark, and a new set of passengers can board to get to where we started, Terminal D. This was an exciting but short journey and a great way to see the new and old LaGuardia up close.
Well, that was a fun experience. It's not that often that you get to be outdoors at LaGuardia Airport, and I don't think this experience is going to last for much longer.
This ride drops you off on the west end of Terminal C on the lower level. This is near the baggage claim area, but passengers remain on the air side and need to go up an escalator to get to the departures level.
And now it's back into the original C terminal, where I started this video.
Check out those signs with the new gate numbers. Once inside the terminal, I saw this great model showing what this side, the east side of the new LaGuardia, will look like. Well, thanks so much for watching this video. I'm really looking forward to the final product. The airport is going to be a completely different place when everything is done. I'll be making many more videos like this, as well as more videos that depict my flight experiences from a very unique point of view. My flight videos focus on how to get the best view out of the window and understanding the airspace context in which a flight operates, so I ask you to please consider subscribing to my channel so you don't miss out on anything new. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the new LaGuardia.